Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Attempted Adventure Podcast, a podcast about finding adventure every day and making your life a little more interesting. From Boulder, Colorado, I'm James Barrett, joined as always by my wonderful co-host,
Michael Desrosiers, still in Arlington, Texas, but only for about 23 more hours. And then I'm zipping off back to the Big Mango, where I'll be quarantined for 2 weeks.
A lot of episodes going to come out of that because boredom.
Boredom and jet lag. I'll just be up anytime. Oh man, James, what a summer it's been. Summer of adventure. As we talked about, we'll get to that. Today we're going to talk about your move. You say you're in Boulder, Colorado. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about today. We are talking about James's summer of adventure. But first, James, what are you drinking today?
You know, as we said in our last episode, I am in the land of beer. Colorado has more craft breweries per capita than like anywhere else on earth or something like that.
I think that's true, yeah.
It's insane. So I am drinking, it's called Siren from True Brewing Company out of Denver, Colorado. I don't know how to say this word. S-A-I-S-O-N. Saison? Anyway, it's got a cool label.
Oh, it's creepy. It's like a
creepy can.
Water wraith or something.
Yeah, but 7% alcohol. Can't complain about that. And they have it to where the label is removable, so you can recycle the can. I've never had this one.
Well, give us a taste.
That's good. Like kind of spicy, kind of cinnamony, clovey almost.
That sounds good.
It's really good.
Nice.
It's not bitter. Hold on, let me get another. Yeah, some like spice notes are in there. There's a little bit of sweetness on the back end. It's very good. You'd really enjoy this.
Cool. Well, we'll be sure to snap a picture of that can. We'll put it up on our blog on attemptedventure.com, and we'll give them a little shout out. Not like they need it, I'm sure, but
probably not. Their label art is like this because it's like a heavy metal brewery.
That sounds like Colorado.
It's like a heavy metal brewery, so they have like the brewery, but it's also attached to like a hot chicken restaurant. So I really want to visit because it sounds great.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway. What are you drinking, my friend?
Well, James, sometimes experimental craft beers can be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your friends over at Martin House Brewery in Fort Worth.
Love them.
I do too. Loving their Mystic Mountain Blueberry Sour. But this one, James, I'm just going to hold up the can and let you have a look at it. And you're going to be like, "What, Michael, why'd you even get that?"
Oh, the pickle beer.
Have you had this one?
I have. Siobhan loves it.
Does she really? So it got great reviews online. This is the best made sour pickle beer by Martin House Brewing Company, local guys in Fort Worth, Texas. It's based on the Salty Lady, which is a good beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's grown on me because I bought a 6-pack and no one else will drink them. So I've had 5 already. And I have to get rid of them before I leave America because otherwise it'll be here for a year in my parents' fridge.
People love it.
Yeah.
You either love it or hate it. There's no in between.
I taste no beer. It literally tastes like
it just tastes like pickle juice. Yeah. Which is, they have the spicy pickle one, which is worse. I don't know. Siobhan loves it. I can't stand it.
I like Martin House. This one, I would say it's a miss, but I'm okay with it. I'm drinking it.
Martin House, if you ever have a chance to try out Martin House, everybody, please do. They have crazy, crazy things they try. They are very brave and very experimental.
Yeah.
What have they tried? The blueberry sour, as you said, very good. They have a blue coconut sour that is very good. The Salty Lady is very good. Confusing at first. You probably won't like it when you first try it. It's salty, which is awkward at first, but it grows on you and you're like, oh, that's good.
This one, I mean, I don't know how much pickle juice is actually in here, but if marketed right, it could be like a hangover prevention. You're getting your electrolytes as you're drinking your beer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
it does taste like pickles.
Today, well, first of all, James, cheers. Cheers from Dallas, Texas area. Cheers to you in Colorado. This is the last time we're both going to be recording from the same country for a while. So
for a little bit, yeah.
We got to enjoy it with a beer because next time we talk, it'll be like early morning times for one of us. So
one of us can have a beer, but then the other one can't. And it's kind of sad.
Well, it depends on who's having it. I don't have much going on for 14 days, so we'll see.
If it's a weekend, I guess I can do whatever I want.
That's right, like we used to.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right. Anyway, we haven't really had a real episode. This is our first real episode.
Right.
Since July, I guess. And so we've both had adventures in the last 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
I'm not going to ask you what you've done this week, but I'm just going to ask you for your highlights this week and next week. Have you done anything new or adventurous this month? So besides moving to Colorado, because that's obviously one. Me, besides coming to America, that's obviously one. But in your move, I don't know, have you done anything new or adventurous this month? And I'm going to ask you again next week as well.
Yeah. We went up into the mountains again this morning.
Nice.
Beautiful up there. I will send some pictures right now.
Yeah, please do.
It was a beautiful morning. Still dealing with a little bit of smoke and haze, but mornings are usually okay. It rolls back in the afternoon. There. Sent you 4 pictures.
Oh, beautiful.
That spot is about 3 or 4 miles from my house, something like that. I mean, it's super close. I mean, it's amazing because you look at the map and you'll route directions somewhere and it'll be oh, it's only 5 miles, but it takes you 25 minutes to drive there because it's just wind up the mountains. Yeah.
You can't just drive straight like you can here in the prairies.
I know. It's weird. I'm like, well, it's so close. 30 miles. If it's up in the mountains, 30 miles will take you an hour and a half to get to just because it's insane. But, so we drove up there this morning. Yesterday, we tried to be a little more adventurous. There's a ski resort about 30 minutes outside of town called Eldora Mountain Resort, and we were going to go up there and just check it out. Mm-hmm. I love skiing, so I was like, I'm going to go check it out because it's in my backyard.
Yeah. We
drove up there. We drove about 30 minutes up into the mountains. And when we turned off on the road to go there, there was a park ranger. He was like, what are you doing? And we're just we're just driving around, just seeing what there is to see. He was like, well, there's way too many people up there right now, so I'm going to have you turn around. So we were like, okay, that's fine, whatever. So we turned around, drove, just sort of meandered around the mountains a little bit. And then, this is a little different, we went thrift shopping.
That's fun.
I had a Cinderella moment, as my fiance said. So we were just walking around, and I saw some very good-looking ski boots. And I was like, those look like they would fit me. So I picked them up. They're perfectly my size. I tried them on. Perfect. Everything about them was perfect. They were barely used. It's amazing. So we did that. We just sort of we still haven't had a ton of time to get out and go explore.
Yeah.
Simply because of the move and we both work and it's just kind of crazy. We've tried tons of different restaurants. They've all been delicious. Tons of different food. We've sort of just meandered through town. It's Labor Day weekend, so it's really crowded right now in Boulder. But it's just beautiful up here. I mean, you can't beat the weather. I mean, right now it is 69 degrees outside and getting cooler. It's the low is 54 tonight, which is great because we don't have air conditioning. I can't say enough. I lived in Reno for a little while, but it never felt right.
Right.
This feels good.
Good.
I'm very comfortable here. I'm very content here.
Well, that is one of the biggest adventures you can do is moving somewhere new. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and Boulder is a really cool town. Tons of food, tons of beer, tons of just stuff to do. It's, I think, ranked number 1 in standard of living in the United States and
that's
number
awesome.
1 in healthiest cities, which a lot of people think of Boulder as this sort of mecca of health.
Yeah.
But they have some of the most unhealthy food I have ever seen in my life. There's a restaurant here called Fat Shack.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay. I thought it was going to be burgers and stuff because they do that sometimes. Like the Health Club in Waco. It's a joke. It's no. This one, their specialty is it's open from 8 p.m. until 4 a.m. It's very much for the drunk people, drunk college kids.
Yeah, right.
Because you can get you can get burgers and wings and stuff like that. But they also sell sandwiches that are the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's okay, cool. Sandwich. They're all right, we start with chicken strips. You're okay, fine, cool, whatever. And they're and then we put jalapeno poppers and mozzarella sticks and
poppers.
Yeah, and just all the junk food you can think of. They just shove it into a big sandwich. I did try one, and they're delicious. If you were drunk, it would be really good.
Well, in the town with the most craft breweries per capita, that's a good business model.
There is, for any of you out there, we do not condone drinking to excess. We don't. However, if you do drink to excess, the drunk munchies are a beast. It's ridiculous. You eat something like that sandwich, and you're just like, what am I doing? But, yeah, so, I mean, we have a lot of adventures planned. We are getting married in October. After that, we are taking a little kind of honeymoon kind of trip to Idaho.
Okay.
Ski season's coming up. I'll have lots of stuff doing then.
That's cool.
Trying to go camping soon, but it's hard right now. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, get up here, everybody.
Well, let's get into a little bit more detail about that. I want to give one reminder to everyone to please participate in our summer challenge, which is valid until the end of September, which is to go camping. You can go camping at a state park, a national park, the woods, or even in your own living room, backyard, balcony, whatever. And we can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
That is hello@attemptadventure.com.
Yes, subject line, challenge.
I have not had a chance to go camping. You have, my friend. We'll talk about that next week. You've had more adventures than me.
Well, I've had more time, James. You've been busy. You've been moving and working. I have been on vacation.
That's fair.
Well, I had a little mini adventure this last week before we get into the rest of the show. I did something new and adventurous. This week, right before we headed back, my wife and I and my parents we were planning on going to Galveston just for a couple of days for a getaway, but that hurricane came. And even though it didn't really hit Galveston, there's no point in being at the beach if it's raining.
Yeah.
So we were trying to figure out what to do, and we ended up going to this hunting lodge in Glen Rose. Now, we don't hunt, but it's also kind of just like a resort in Glen Rose. I'll go ahead and shout it out. It's called Rough Creek Lodge. It was awesome. We didn't hunt, but they had all sorts of things to do. It was kind of just like summer camp for adults. They had archery, they had a hiking trail.
That's amazing.
They had a killer restaurant, but it's really dark out at night, and my dad brought his telescope that he got for Christmas and hadn't really had the chance to use much yet. And so in the morning, I would work at like 4 or 5, and then I had some time off, and then my dad was coming out with his telescope, and we were doing some stargazing with the telescope, like 5, 6 a.m. There's no light pollution out there. Billions of stars. Billions and billions, as some might say. Coolest thing we were able to see was the ring of Saturn, which was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
We were able to see 3 of Jupiter's moons, and just like my favorite part was just zooming in on the moon itself and just looking at the crater, which you just can't see very clearly.
No,
but it was really fun. So that was new and adventurous for me, and it was awesome. A little stargazing.
Yeah, you sent me that link to Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park's like star tours. It's a little too far for just like a little. It's not a day trip kind of thing. It's about 6 hours away.
Right.
It's because it's like you have to wind down into the mountains way down south, 5 or 6 hours away. So I was planning on it, but I didn't want to go on like a Saturday because it's just going to be packed. And so I was like, originally I was like, I can go like Wednesday after work, but then I was like, oh, it's like 6 hours away.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You're going to have to get used to that. You're not in the prairie anymore. You can't just drive in straight lines anymore.
I know. It's annoying.
That's a new element to life.
The state's so much smaller, but it takes so much further to get anywhere. Well, anywhere good. If you go east, you can get out of here real quick because I'm right where we meet the mountains. It's like prairie, and then Boulder's right where you meet the mountains.
Okay, gotcha. Well, hopefully you'll get the chance to do lots of cool stuff like that.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about your summer. So, I mean, we recorded our last episode back in July. What have you been up to since then? I mean, even before your move, what have you been up to?
Before we moved, it's kind of a blur. The last like 2 months have been kind of a blur. I hate moving, man. Like It's worth it, but I hate it. We sort of started planning this quite a while ago. For a while we thought we kind of wanted to live in Colorado, and then we were like, no, never mind. And then sort of just fell right back into the trap that is Colorado. And so when we decided to move up here, we came up here and started looking for places to live. And in between those times, when we were looking for places to live, we'd go try a new brewery, or we'd drive up in the mountains and things like that. A lot of that. A lot of little adventures, nothing really bigger planned. I came up here with my mom one time, just me and my mom. That was really fun. She loves the mountains and stuff, and so we was able to show her around, and she's like, okay, I get it.
It's pretty cool.
So I hope this isn't like a boring episode, but it's just, there haven't been a ton of big things. The move itself was sort of the big adventure.
How was the drive up there? Was it any...
Oh, man, that's a boring drive.
Just long and boring?
It's long and boring. It's...
So do you go like through Santa Fe, or how do you get up there?
We go, when you leave Dallas,
Yeah.
you sort of go northwest, kind of meander along the border, and you go from Amarillo to New Mexico. So you get to Colorado, and then you sort of drive through all of Colorado. That's the best drive.
Okay.
We try and stop at like new places because I think we share this. I like truck stops.
Yeah.
They're fun. Don't know why.
I love gas station coffee. It's no good. It's terrible.
No, it's terrible, but it's great.
I love a gas station coffee. You know those like taquitos and corn dogs that you can get on the roller?
They're so good.
They're so good. They're terrible, but they're so good.
They're so good. You know, Love's Travel Stops. Shout out to Love's Travel Stops.
I like Love's. I'm a big QT guy. You guys don't have Buc-ee's outside of... I mean, they're in other areas, but they're mostly in like on the I-35 corridor.
Yeah, and I think like the Southeast has some Buc-ee's. Here we have a lot of Circle K's.
Well, what I'm interested in, even in a different state, have you had any moments of culture shock?
Everybody's in shape. That's weird.
It's the fittest state in the country.
It is. It's them in like Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
They love being outside. Makes me feel bad about myself. But you know, it's fine. Some of these are silly. Some of these, I have a couple. One is pretty... It's still mind-boggling to me. And one is just funny. They love ranch dressing more than anybody I've ever met.
Really?
Any people. Everything comes with ranch. Everything.
Really? I'm fine with
I don't
ranch.
know why.
I'm okay with ranch.
They call it Colorado ketchup. I don't know why. It's
That's
so weird.
That's really weird.
They love it.
Hmm.
And they put honey on their pizza, which is really good. Do that.
Okay. I mean, I am no pizza purist. I will eat all sorts of things. I've had a banana and bacon pizza in South Africa. Like, I don't care about that. I understand that you can mix sweet and savory. I'm not an ignorant buffoon that thinks only certain toppings are available on pizza. If you want to put a pineapple on pizza, you're a genius.
What's your favorite pizza?
I love Hawaiian. So
good choice. My favorite is pepperoni, pineapple, and banana peppers.
Yeah. Pineapple belongs on pizza.
It belongs on pizza.
There's nothing
I don't
wrong
care.
with that. People, you can't put fruit on. No, you can put fruit on. You can put mint sauce on pork. You can mix meat and fruit. All the people do that all the time. There's nothing weird about that. You hate pineapple on pizza because of the meme. It means because you don't know how to have an opinion of your own.
Jeez. So now that everyone knows our stance on pineapple on pizza, we're going to see our listeners drop dramatically by 50% because it's about 50-50. Anyway, so the ranch dressing one, that got me. How in shape everybody is.
Yeah.
I knew it, but until you like live here, you're like, oh man.
Right. Well, I just got back from Oklahoma and I had the exact opposite revelation.
Oh man. Hold on. Oh man. But sort of the one sorry, Oklahoma, it's not your fault, but you know we love Oklahoma.
Yeah, I had a great time there.
Yeah. Anyway, I think for me, the thing I still have yet to like wrap my mind around is the legalization of marijuana.
And just how open it is.
It's just nobody cares.
Coming from a culture that we grew up in here in Texas, that must be shocking.
It's weird. And a lot of people that aren't in here think that, you know, everyone's always high all the time, and that's not the case at all. It's different. I don't, you know, me personally, I don't care.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Like, I'm not about to go just like buy a bunch of weed or whatever, but if you want to, by all means, I don't care. You'll see like this highway was, you know, adopted by this like weed company. You're like, what? That's weird.
Yeah.
And so that's odd, but you just get used to it. Like, I know it's here, but it's also not like it's not like you just walk around and people are just smoking on the sidewalks and like, it's not like that anywhere.
It's the same as like here. It's like beer's legal. People aren't just sitting around drinking beer in the park. You know,
I know.
like it's not.
Come on. So that's definitely something that's sort of hard to wrap my mind around. It's an interesting culture shift.
Yeah.
everyone think Texans are friendly and, laid back, but we're really not. We're friendly, but the laid back part is very much like the slow paced, like outlying areas. Cities aren't.
Austin is like the most hectic, stressful place I've ever been. I like it, but it's not
fun,
laid back.
But it's hectic. But here it is, and it's weird. You have places like Golden, which is about 30 minutes south of us, which might be the most relaxed place I've ever been. It's so cool.
Nice, yeah. I've never been. I've been through Boulder. I've never been to Golden.
Golden's great. I saw people in Golden. There's a whitewater park in Golden. People were whitewater surfing. That was wild. There are some people here that are, angry that a lot of people are moving here. But they're the same kind of people that are angry that a lot of people are moving to Texas.
I mean, gosh, just like let people live their lives, right?
Yes, people are going to move where they can have a better situation. I know I would be, right now, I could go buy a huge house in, I don't know, Topeka.
Right.
But would I be happy? No. Some people that is their version of success, is they want to move somewhere where they can have a big house and a big family and things like that. Other people would be much happier in a studio apartment in Los Angeles just because, you would be miserable in a big house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So would I.
Yeah.
We've talked before about buying a little parcel of land, like a half acre or something up in the mountains and like building a house on it. But I think I'd get bored.
I would be the same way. If I lived like out in the woods or in the mountains, I don't know what I'd do with myself all day. Yeah. I like having stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. I could probably live in like one of those ski towns. That's cool. But like just building a house in the mountains up in the woods sounds awesome. In a lot of ways it would be.
Well, if you had like spending money for a vacation house, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If it's your primary residence, I think you'd get sick of it.
I think I would. And I love the mountains more than anything, but I would get very bored very quickly. The thing about Boulder is you have all the city things you need, and if Boulder doesn't have it, Denver does. But you're right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's made me appreciate my surroundings a lot more. It's easy to take for granted natural beauty, but I don't get tired of it. Every morning I walk out to go to work, and I can see the mountains from my parking lot, and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. That kind of goes back to something that our guest Kelly Paxian touched on a couple months ago. She was talking about, nowadays that companies are a lot more flexible, and a lot of companies are letting people work online for the first time. A lot of people don't have to feel stuck somewhere anymore. They really can try to find the place that feels like home to them.
Yep.
And people have the opportunity to find their place, and you can find your place, and there's a lot of space in the world for all of us. That's why I think people shouldn't get upset with people moving elsewhere,
Having a house or building a house with a big deck where you can sit out and see the mountains and stuff, that's it. Like, that's what I want. Because for me, mountains are home. For other people, it's the beach. For other people, it's the countryside, the forest, or whatever. And I think everyone deserves to find that. You find wherever or whoever makes a place home. You just grab onto it. And now is the best time to do it. There's no reason in staying somewhere that you're not happy with simply because it's familiar, or moving is scary. Mm-hmm. Moving up here, even though I'm very familiar with Colorado and we've been up here a lot, is a big jump.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary. And once we're here, though, it's like, oh, this is just fine. And so don't let nerves get to you. Don't let other people get to you. Because people will try and be like, oh, maybe you shouldn't, or, why would you move? Or
a lot of people do. A lot of people can't fathom why you would take a risk. I've encountered this a lot in my life in Thailand. People from here can't fathom why I moved to Thailand or why I've made it my home.
Mm-hmm.
People don't get it. Yeah, but you can't let other people tell you how to live your life.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I mean, and obviously not everyone can do that. There are definitely degrees of privilege that go along with that, and that's not really what we're talking about today. But it's good to acknowledge it. But if you can, don't let yourself hold yourself back. Don't let other people hold you back. There's good reason to be held back, right? Money is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
career, other responsibilities is one of them. But other people, that's not a good reason.
Yeah, no, it's not. Like you said, don't abandon a good job and stuff like that or do. I don't control you, but if you take a risk, make sure it's calculated. I would say if you want something, if you truly feel like you want something, whether that's moving, whether that's a new job, whether that's anything, just try. Try and make it happen, and don't give up because it's hard. I just recommend that everyone try and find their place.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Boulder is my place, but the mountains are,
Sure.
wherever that may be.
Yeah. And you know what? As much as we like adventuring, you got to have a home.
Mm-hmm. I've thought so much like, I could make a van, but that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of like me in the way that you love adventuring and you love traveling and all this other stuff. But at the same time, having a home base is also good.
Oh, I have a friend who lives in Thailand, and every year he moves to a different province, and he's having a blast. He's having the time of his life. Me, I have lived in Bangkok the entire time. That's my home. I love Thailand. I love traveling in it, but that would be stressful to me.
Mm-hmm. Like, I need somewhere to call home.
Yeah.
I kind of got off track a little bit about my move, but it sort of made me give a little more insight into why. And I do have some stuff planned. Well, I'll talk to you about that a little off camera.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot more adventures coming up, for sure. It's just sort of, we're finally, I think, fully settled in.
But that's really cool. I'm glad that things are working out for you there, and I'm glad that you've had some adventures already. Well, buddy, you have no excuses ever to not do something.
I know I don't. No, I'm not gonna, I can't be lazy.
Oh, man. I mean, now you could just be like, oh, I went to a new coffee shop, because now everything's new for you.
That's true. For now it is.
Oh, man. I'm glad things are going well. To extrapolate, I guess we could apply what you've said to all adventures, and listeners, maybe, try it. Take a risk. Take a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, be bold.
Try something you're not sure if you're going to like.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be moving, but...
No, don't just move. Or do, whatever.
I did.
You did.
I moved to Bangkok on a whim.
It was a whim. That's the best part about that.
And now it's my home.
And you never know where your home's going to be.
You don't. If you had asked me 3 weeks before I moved to Thailand, I wouldn't have even known anything about it.
Because you didn't apply until 2 weeks before you moved to Thailand.
But seriously, yeah, fortune favors the bold. Take a chance. Don't let other people hold you back.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for this week. Like I said, haven't had a ton of adventures yet, but they are coming.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about them. I think this winter you're going to have a lot. This autumn you should have a ton.
Mm-hmm. It's been hot and smoky, so it's been harder to get out. But fall's right around the corner. You can feel it in the air. And I am excited.
Well, on that note, James,
mm-hmm.
Speaking of autumn, we are fast approaching one of my favorite holidays, Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you're not as big into Halloween as I am, but I like Halloween a ton.
It's fun.
And in the past, in our other show, Ear Goggles, we did our Halloween episode, which is always a lot of fun. I want to do a Halloween episode for Attempted Venture as well. So, listeners, I'm putting a call out to you. Have you had any spooky, scary, unexplained stories happen to you on your travels or on your adventures? If you have, write in hello@attemptedventure.com, subject line Halloween, and we're going to read them on the air. So write to us if you've got a creepy, spooky story.
You and I have some.
We have some. We're going to choose a few of our favorites and talk about them. We hope we have some good ones. So yeah, please write in, and we're going to be reminding you every week leading up to Halloween as well.
Yes, we are, and it's going to be great. It's always a fun episode.
It is. It's one of my favorite parts. Getting into the holiday season of our podcast, whatever the show has been, whether it's day drinking or...
It's always great.
Or Ear Goggles or this one, it's always a ton of fun.
Remember when we made Applejack? That was fun.
That was fun. We got to do a cocktail thing again.
We do. That was fun.
Yeah.
Not eggnog.
Well, the recipe we had was archaic, and we didn't have half the ingredients.
It was fine.
You can find all of those videos on our website, attemptedventure.com, or on our previous show's website, eargogglespodcast.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our favorite segment, Adventures in the News. And this week, it's my turn as we come back from our summer vacation. Gary Gibson. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gary Gibson.
Mm-mm.
Me neither. But he is a new router. He's a climber, and he discovers new climbing routes. He has recently climbed his 5,000th new route. Says Gary reckons he has climbed around 17,600 routes in total so far in his career, but reaching the magic number of 5,000 new ones was something I never thought I'd achieve. Apparently, he has some health complications. He has some a median nerve issue in his right arm and a blood clot in the right side of his brain. He's had a stroke, and he's in recovery and still discovering new climbing routes. This guy is an incredible inspiration.
That's an athlete right there.
Climbing is really interesting. I have never really truly been interested in it before, but recently I've kind of thought it could be a fun thing to try out. Now, there's not a lot of climbing here in the relatively, well, frankly, below sea level altitude of Bangkok where I live, but there are bouldering gyms, and there's climbing in the south, and there are mountains, and I have a friend that climbs.
I am too out of shape to do it right now. There is a climbing gym next door to my apartment.
Oh, next door.
Right next door.
Well, you could be the next Gary.
Yeah. I'm going to lose a lot of weight first. I've always really liked it. Every time I've tried rock climbing and stuff like that, it's been really fun. But I've never done it seriously. And I've always been kind of heavy, so it's harder. But fun.
I want to get into it. Maybe I'll give it a try too. Maybe next year when I come, we can both go climbing together.
That'd be cool. There's a lot of climbing.
I'm sure there is.
And bouldering.
Yeah, bouldering. I think I'd be really into bouldering. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, less risk of death. I mean, you can hurt yourself, but you're probably not going to die.
Oh, there was a super cool dude. He goes bouldering and kind of free climbing with lights, Christmas lights strapped to his back, and he makes these really neat long exposure pictures. Let me see if I can find this dude. His pictures are really interesting. I think he lives somewhere out in Colorado. Luke Rasmussen. It's not really an adventure in the news, but it's still an interesting article. And look at his pictures. They're super interesting. Very, very cool. Have a look at that link I sent you. And I'm going to put this on the website as well. You can head on over to attemptadventure.com and see what I'm talking about.
That is super cool.
I would love to try something like that.
I'm very interested in long exposure shots.
I want to try to do some star trails. I think that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. Do I know how it really works? No.
Yeah, that's why you learn.
But I'm very interested in them. But that's awesome.
Well, there you go. There's a twofer. Two articles, neither one very long. Both, hopefully, I don't know, a little inspirational. All right, folks. Well, as always, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to send in your monthly challenge and your spooky, spooky adventure story to us at hello@attemptadventure.com, or go to our website, attemptadventure.com, click on that little contact us button. Chat to us there. We'll read every message we get.
Yes, we
You can also find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube even. Not much there yet, but actually, there's some stuff in the works. Still don't bother with the Twitter. That's I have not had time to get around to that.
No, don't bother with the Twitter. Just the best way to get in touch with us, click that contact us button.
Well, thank you so much for listening. Next week, stay tuned to hear about my adventures in Texas and Oklahoma, my adventures outdoors, my adventures with the American healthcare system for the first time in 8 years. I was very naive. I forgot how it worked, or maybe I never knew, James.
It's unfortunate. We'll get into that next week.
Oh boy. You guys got that to look forward to. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks as always for listening. And until next time,
keep adventuring.